You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love. Okay, hey, welcome everybody for an episode of the Skateboarding Bros Show. And we're just going to review the recent Florida Skateboard Hall of Fame inductions. It was in St. Pete, Florida. It was really epic. We haven't been gotten together for like 4 or 5 years due to COVID and fear of COVID and just logistical nightmares. So after 2 or 3 jumps and starts, they finally decided on April 15th, 2023 at the St. Pete Skate Park, which was also the 5th annual anniversary of that park. So it was a great time, and I have Walter Prost. What's your name, Walter? What's your last name again?
Walter Ports.
Walter Ports out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, who is part of Let's Skate and doing great things to get skateboarding environments and parks built. And of course, the worldwide famous parachute specialist and thrill seeker, Phil Kiokio down in Sarasota. So,
Must be back there somewhere.
There we are.
Hey, look, I got Walter's business card right here.
There it is.
Walter Ports.
Nice.
No longer.
I mentioned your name. I mentioned your name a couple of times because I'm on the board of directors for the Sarasota Skate City program here to make a bunch of pocket parks in the county for human wheeled sports.
Yeah.
Human wheeled sports, a new term.
And 1965 was the year I started skateboarding as a segue into skateboarding. Britt's parking lot, 2x4 metal wheels.
Sounds legit.
Cool.
What's changed, really?
You know, success breeds contempt. That's what's changed. Because when we went to the park there in St. Pete, there was a beautiful park. People having fun. It was like everybody's healthy. People are getting along. They're going around to do, and there's the restroom burned to the ground. So somebody from baseball or somebody from some other part of the society said, I hate skateboarders. They're having too much fun. Let's burn down their restroom. I go, that sucked. So I had to walk a half a mile up the hill into the baseball complex. Nobody up there. Everybody was at the skate park. That's the cool thing about skateboarding. You don't have to wait for a team to get or somebody to unlock the gate. You just jump the fence and go skateboarding. So it was just, I'm off my rant now. Success breeds contempt. Burn the lavatories down, you idiots.
Hey, well, it was a hot day. I drank a lot of water and never had to pee once. So
wait a minute. Wait. We got a new guest here. What's going on here? Who's this?
That's some hippie. I don't know how he got the invite. Hey, Jody.
Cool.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, thanks for joining.
How you guys doing?
We're doing biographies right quick for some reason, and it just seems okay. So Walter did the thing where you go to the city council and say, I want a skate park, please. And they said, you need $500,000. And so he raised $2.5 million. So now he's a professional skateboard park ambassador, a facilitator, encourager, and he's very sick with the sport of skateboarding. And we're happy to have him here in Charlotte. So you want to talk a couple minutes about Let's Skate?
Sure. So like you said, we set out to raise $500,000. I tell people we found the cheat code and we're able to raise about 2.5. Right now we're getting into the nuts and bolts of getting ready to dig holes in the ground and budgets and budget overruns and all of these crazy things that happen in, an economy where you have 8% inflation or whatever the hell it is. So yeah, right now it's the most stressful job I've ever had momentarily. Hopefully that will be done in 6 months when the park is built. But our goal going forward is just to build community through skateboarding in different forms. So whether that's working with Boards for Bros to get skateboards to kids on reservations, or I'm helping a little community, Worthington, Minnesota, get their skate park movement going. A little bit of everything, hopefully we can find this silver thread to tie it all together and keep the movement moving forward. And if nothing else, mentor some people along the way, and help people learn to build community in different ways.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So Let's Skate, is there a web address for that?
We actually have a new website coming in the next couple of weeks, but it is lets-skate.com.
Where's
So the current site is a little outdated. We should have a bunch of updates coming when that new site launches in the next few weeks.
It'll be the same name, though, right? The same address.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I got that right here.
Yep.
So thank you very much, and thank you, Walter, for championing skateboard parks. Lord knows we need more of them. And Jody, don't you have a little bit to do with skateboarding yourself? You support the Boards for Bros, right?
Yeah, it's definitely my biggest thing, I guess. Still trying to skate a little bit, but yeah, definitely helping out the Boards for Bros thing as much as possible.
Hold on, Jody. We got a signal problem, at least from my end.
So Jody owns and runs SRM Paintworks out of Elkin, North Carolina, and he's been a skater his whole life. And he's got kind of a Walter story in that there's nobody in Elkin, North Carolina that skateboards or acknowledges it. So he had like a core group. Landon, well, not Landon. What was your buddy we talked to the other night? Kenny,
Yeah.
and Jody would skate. They would go. It was like maybe a RFD. When Barney goes to Raleigh to party, they would go to Winston-Salem to skate, and they had a pretty cool skate scene. A lot of big skaters came through there, and now so Jody's like a world-renowned paint and body guy in the biker field, and car and auto body. And we were at Lexington Skate Park at Tim Payne Park. By the way, Jody, your video's frozen. So we were doing distribution at Lexington Skate Park. And I just built skateboards all day, just giving them to whoever was in line. And that's where I met him. And ever since then, he's been really promoting what we do. And
so Jody was in line like he was living in the neighborhood, and you gave him a skateboard.
No, he was okay. The beard was dreadlocks. He had braided his fucking beard, and it was and he comes in and he's got safety equipment, but he's looking at me like is that guy really doing what he's doing? Right? And I think about the time he came in, some kid who probably makes, parents make a couple $100,000, got his iPhone, and he's next in line, and he comes standing in front of me. So like, I'm now gonna just make him a skateboard. He's on his iPhone, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to put that down and at least pick out what board you want. You have to participate in this. I was giving the guy crap. And then Jody went skating for a while. It was a zoo because it was grand opening. Remember that? And,
oh yeah.
And then I met with him, and SRM has been part of our at least part of our annual fundraising, as well as spreading the word to more than just the guys that I know.
Now wait, hold on. I can't help myself, but is Jody going to dress up as Santa Claus? He's got the setup there better than you, Ed.
Well, he doesn't have the belly, but he's got the beard.
I'm not sure he has the right demeanor.
Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding. You'd be a very soft-spoken Santa Claus.
That would be a hoot to have him do that.
Just chain smoking.
Yeah,
right.
Listen here, kid.
Yeah, kids.
Santa's got a big leather wallet with the chain on it. That's those are.
And the best part about Jody and the events, the fundraisers, is he not only does he paint boards to donate to the art show, but then he just opens his wallet and buys everything.
Yeah, I think he went over the $1,000 mark within 15
Wow.
minutes.
Yeah, good for you. Great.
Yeah. He's like, I'll take that, and I'll take that, and I'll take that. It was
Good. It's all good.
plus he didn't just come to the event. He moved into the parking lot for the night and
Right.
made a night of it down there. So it was great. And by the way, shout out to New Salem Brewing in Salisbury, North Carolina, for hosting our art auction. And God, I don't even remember what it was. It was in May. It was right after the Skateboard Hall of Fame, which is what we're here to talk about, Florida Skateboard Hall of Fame. So what I did, guys, was I just kind of took pictures, threw them into some sort of chronological order. And I'm just going to start running through them, and then we can just talk about what we had, what experience it was. Because it's like a fraternity that never meets. And then when we get together, it's just like we pick up right where we left off. So
And Jody and I were both kind of like observationists at this point, right? Like we had nothing to do with Florida Skateboarding Hall of Fame, but Ed brought us down there, and it was pretty fascinating to meet everybody and to kind of see everything unfold. And yeah, I'm excited to go through this stuff.
well, let's see if I can figure out how to do that.
Can we get a kid over to Ed's house to?
Yeah, we need a 10-year-old to run the PowerPoint.
Really?
And I know that George is happy he didn't get to come to the meeting because he just gets frustrated by my lack of technical skills. So that's Bruce Mason.
As our entire audience does, Ed.
Well, I care about the audience a little bit, but I don't care about anything as much as the skateboarding. So I appreciate you pointing that out. And if you have anything, you can send it to Phil Kiokio.
Wait, a lot of static there.
So this is the mission statement of the Florida Skateboard Hall of Fame that is run by Steve Marinack and a committee of guys. And basically it was just, we need to capture the history of skating in Florida. And it turned out it's very successful. It's well attended, and we really owe a big thanks to Steve Marinack as well as all of the guys that spend countless hours trying to organize skateboarders, which is futile. So it might
20 years now. It's good.
Yes. So this is this year's inductees. So we had quite a few because it was 3 or 4, 5 years, I think, since we had the last one, and we've added more categories. The Dave Ellis Award, it's kind of a posthumous award for people who gave their most of their career to skateboarding, and then the lifer, and of course industry. So made this one up just so you kind of see how it all started. In 2002, Steve had this event, and there was no voting. He just put all these guys in, and we had ourselves a virtual Hall of Fame. That was in Jacksonville. So all these guys are pillars of Florida skating, and that began it all. So then over the years, sometimes between maybe 2 or 3 years, sometimes just be 2, or whenever Steve had the bandwidth to do it, he would have these events. And of course, we got a picture of the Bro Bowl and somebody, Kookmeyer from Surfer Magazine. So, so one of my favorite pictures here is the Clearwater team coming back from a contest. And you'll notice the guy with the Michelob Light has no awards in his hand. I never won a thing for that park. So that was a fun ride home. So these are existing people. And then, okay, so we're in St. Pete. That was the night before. That was Thursday. And the thing I liked most about our Airbnb is there was a lock on the air conditioner.
Oh, no.
We were, as Cleo says, Cleo Coney, shout out to Coping Block Magazine.
I got Coping Block right here.
There we go. Coping Block Rocks, great magazine. Skater owned, Skater run. And you got Rob Weir, who skated for Pal Peralta at one time. He's a great stuntman. And then new inductee Phil Hajal. So that was
Phil was shredding that night.
Yeah, he really was. And
that big bull, like he was going after it.
So yeah, he and it's always fun for me anyway to see somebody skate the deep stuff, skate around raw. It's just fun. So
That's a big bowl. That thing was big.
So it was 14 feet deep with a 9-foot shallow end, and so then it had a waterfall that was like 5 feet. So if you didn't get in and set in time, you got pitched. So it was fun to watch other people skate it.
And I don't think I could get out of that bowl.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a new hip and another one coming. I couldn't walk half around that park. I had little gullies. I was crawling over.
I fell down.
I'm 75 years old. I started skating at 15. And here I am crawling around. It was amazing, but that bowl was huge and that was good. That littler bowl for doubles, I thought was tremendous. That was just thrilling to watch.
The bowl between
the next one
and
down.
The plaza.
Yeah,
that was nice. I think I got a couple pictures of that.
Thrilling.
So this morning, of this day, I woke up at 4 a.m., drove all the way down there, and then met with Walter, and then we were to go get Jody. So, because he was flying in. Walter flew in from the Smithsonian from up somewhere in DC. And so this was actually, we closed the bricks down. That's Jody and Walter. And we met this guy with these weird
surf trucks. It's crazy. We can't see. I can't see them on my screen because I have my thing in the way. But I got some great video of how those things move. Like, dude can carve.
Those things are gnarly.
That's definitely different.
Yeah, the more you turn them, the more they turn. It's an exponent. He's carving circles, just unnatural.
I was talking to somebody who surfs about them, and they said they call, a bunch of surfers call them surf trucks because it feels a lot more like surfing, where you can really whip the board around quickly.
Well,
it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, and so behind Jody, you can see that's pieces of the original Bro Bowl.
Oh, wow, great.
To the left of us is the recreation of the original Bro Bowl. So this started our first day, and we went to skate park in Tampa.
Am I sleeping back there? That's a terrible photo.
Both of you were. We were going to. This was after our meeting over at skate park in Tampa. So Michael Blandford took us on a tour, and of course I've been there before, so I'm just wandering around looking at the big ass fan. And we got some time with Brian Schaefer, so it was good to introduce Walter to Brian because of the networking that Walter does, and it's just part of the trip, was to meet Michael and Brian. Of course, Jody took a call and he bounced. He was gone, and that's when I took the opportunity to pick up that board for him. I got him the Belle. So they slept, and we went and had something to eat in Safety Harbor on the way to Dunedin. We went out in the boat. It was a lot of fun. We're talking about skateboarding. That's my daughter. I love her. All right, next page. All right. So this was Friday night. Mark Legg, Lloyd Gillick, and Dave Bamdas. And then this is Dan Murray. But I looked at your pictures, Walter. You took these pictures. This guy's got a knee brace on, and he's hauling ass. And he catches big air.
Yeah. No, he was doing something.
Why?
That's a whole new sport there. If he can't bend his knee, you might as well ride it.
I think they were just having fun. They were screwing around.
None of that. We don't allow that. That's not good.
No fun, right?
No fun
no
having.
fun.
So
No.
I found these two pictures interesting, as well as a couple others, because of all of the booths and tents that I never went and looked at all. Did you
Hey,
guys
they were
walk
good.
over there?
Yeah. They were not positioned good. You had to walk in along the side of the park and then go into the park in order to see all the booths. But if they could have been in the middle, like Coping Block had their booth right in the middle, and you kind of focused on it. The others are all along the side, and they had ginger beer, and they had Mark Lake's booth, and Heritage Festival people from Craig Snyder. They had a booth, and others. It was good. Very, very good participation.
Well, yeah, I guess a big shout out to Jay Turner from Anchor Skate Shop, because he did a lot of the grunt work and getting all this organized.
And there was a plumbing company there that apparently did a lot of involved in skateboarding a lot, so they were there.
Was it Mike McGill Plumbing?
No, I don't know.
So this mostly is just random shots by Walter. We have Markovich up there with the little fans around his neck, those little battery-powered fans. He's hot. And then,
dude, that guy was going so hard that day. He was skating hard.
Who's that, Chris?
Yeah, he always does.
And then, I mean, just the scene, all those booths. And then this is Paul Schmidt, who must have been hungover. For some reason, I think he was. But there he is getting a Schmidt backside. It would be a backside Schmidt instead of a Smith grind. And then we have Keith Aline. And if you guys don't know who Keith is, he's been world champion slalom skater 10, 12 times.
Yeah.
And still one of the biggest riders for Radical trucks and all the slalom gear. I mean, talk about an investment of the skateboard. I mean, what is it, $80, $100 for a skateboard? He has trucks that cost $800. So he's got a higher entry point into that. And then we have Sam Meyer of the Donnie and Sam, and he's the best sticker collection guy of skateboards in the world. And then got Phil talking to Keith, and then another ugly guy.
Oh, well, I gotta make sure you see my hat. I got the hat here because that's all you showed. You didn't show my face, so I got my hat. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you're in the next slide here, Phil.
Oh, okay.
This guy, if anybody got to see it,
yeah, that was great.
This guy he should be in MMA. Either that, or at least he needs to share what his cocktail of choice was. Because Jody came back and he said, "What did you say?" He said, "I wouldn't fight that guy because of all the hits he took, and he just kept."
Yeah.
Like,
I was out. I had to walk all the way to the baseball fields to go take a leak, and I come back and I'm swarmed by all the police. And this guy's out in the middle of this field, and they gathered him up, and I was right next to him. They handcuffed him, and he's cussing. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but thank God they burned down the restroom, or I would have never seen this event part of it.
It was insane. That dude was off his rocker.
Yeah, he was. There were some issues with him. It was definitely for sure. And he had a half a skateboard or something. He's walking around with a half a. I don't know what that was.
Well, he was trying to. He made some comments to a young kid, and I don't know exactly what was said, but some of the other skaters took offense to it because it was pretty abusive.
It was probably about his mother or something, you know.
No, it's about his body parts. And somebody called him a pedophile and whatever. I don't know. I mean, something like that's what happened.
He definitely had issues. He was not part of the show, or he was. He became part of the show. So.
Then people were running away with his skateboard, saying they were going to break it. And I was just like watching this, and then all of a sudden there were 2 skateboard parts over there with him, and he was throwing them at the crowd, and I was like, I'm out. I'm out.
What happened apparently was he was barging into the contest. And that's one of the things that shifted the schedule later was
Ah,
because he was skating doubles with people who were trying to to do their contest run. So, but just remind me in case there's 50 people trying to kill me to not try to climb the fence back over into that environment. It's time, you get away. So,
I've never been in a fight in my life. I don't need any of this stuff.
yeah, that good for you, dude.
well, it was good drama. I didn't
It was-
expect to see the police. I expected to see porta potties, but they didn't show up. But the police showed up, so it was unexpected. It was such a beautiful event with hundreds, I'm telling you, hundreds of people. And here I am clobbering. I can't hardly walk. And I'm trying to walk across that area, and people were just skate around me. They didn't care. It was just like, okay, that's fine. It was very civil. I loved it. It was great. And everybody
Oh, it
was
was
healthy. It was great.
with 500 people there or whatever there was, to have only one random incident where anybody felt any malice at all. That was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah, it was blast. So Bruce Mason is an inductee. He was there with his brother. Then, for some reason, Ray Diaz decided he was going to skate, and you can see him laying on the ground. He just ran out of gas.
Yeah, that was when he just put his pads on. He ran out of gas.
Just couldn't tie his shoes. So you got Diaz, who's just insane. Dan Murray, who's the Burger King, and Binky, who does a lot of work behind the scenes. Binky Conklin on supporting the Hall of Fame. Then we have this shot with let's see, George is the only one who was not. Well, actually, he lived in Gainesville for a little while, but I don't know if it was when the park was open. So this is just a good old boy shot. And this is down here in the corner is one of the guys that Walter took a bunch of pictures of, and I grabbed the cleanest one I could get. And whoever you are, send us a message and we'll tag you. I don't know. We didn't.
I have his name somewhere, but
Okay.
I'd have to find it. Yeah.
Well, we can put it on the YouTube.
I think he's an immigrant from, I want to say Honduras. I can't remember for sure, but he was going hard for that trick. And
Yeah.
super nice. Just a super nice, lively guy.
Good.
It was
Well,
just
we are the International Skateboarding Bros Show now, so we allow Honduran people to participate.
Well, yeah. I mean, only 10% of our 10 subscribers are from the United States. I mean, I think
You have subscribers? I'm shocked.
Yes. Yeah. So apparently we have a gentleman in the Netherlands that my daughter knows.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I know there's some sex offender prison people that do it because Ed's on the show. So,
before you said that, I was thinking about the dude from Honduras, like skateboarding's for everyone, and now I'm like maybe rethinking that. That isn't the best.
I'm gonna do the right thing and just hit next page.
Yeah, good work.
So a funny look is when somebody gives me a microphone, the look on the boss's face. So kind of humorous. But these guys right here, we have to again say thank you. We got Chuck Dinkins, Tim Mott, and Mike Rogers.
A lot of work on their part. That was great.
I mean, really, it is. But it paid off. So this is Bill Danforth. So this is kind of interesting. He is Bill Danforth. Either you know who he is or you don't, but he's bigger than all outdoors and life and skateboarding for decades. What was interesting was he was sitting off over in a booth somewhere. I had walked by there and he was doing a few curls, hanging out. And then to see him come over by himself, sit on the back of the stage, patiently waiting when it was almost his turn to be inducted, and just to sit there. And I was, 5 or 10 feet from him, and I took this photo. It was great to have him as a friend of Florida and put him in the Florida Skater Hall of Fame. And of course, all this Phil thought was hilarious, and there he is laughing about it. So
I was sitting on some hornets or something there. It was bad.
he's actually not laughing. He's asleep. And he's catching.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was hot. That was a hot day. I was passing out. It was nasty.
So this is Bruce Mason again. When he brought a board with Chicago trucks and Chicago wheels, loose ball bearing wheels, really phenomenal. And it's great to have him. This actually is Dave Narducci. He's out of Daytona, and he was the first inductee. I'm not sure I have everybody because I called this, set this up, and then did 15 minutes of show prep. But the show was delayed, not our show. The awards by the Rumble on the Diamond, I guess we can call it. The thumping. So it was interesting to see the different amount of time, and almost every moment in an induction had a point where the emotion was evident. It was had to be like, we're men, so we're taught not to cry. So that, people were touched.
You got to be over 40 to get into this, right? Is that one of the criteria? You can't be just some Grom. You got to be over 40 to get in, and you had to be in it.
Is that where the cutoff for Grom is now? 40?
Yes.
Well, all I know is I'm now elderly because I'm 75. So hey.
So
yeah, that might be the Grom cutoff. That's it. That's good.
I think if they're your Grom and you're 19 and they're 12, and then when you turn 59 and they're 52, they're still a Grom. I mean, I call McGill a Grom and Gelfand. I mean, they're
do that to their face. You're a pretty gutsy guy.
Yeah, they're small, so I can get away with it.
I have to say here, shout out to David Adams. Like we went over to his house. Very generous, very nice guy. Had a great conversation with him. Really interesting guy.
Oh, for sure. And just took his kids surfing down in South America to see their mother's family. He doesn't have to do that. Take them down and see but it's part of their family. So his first wife is gone, but in that pool he's emptied. He skated it, and it's tight. So that's pretty cool. Now we got a funny picture here. Apparently, Robert Downey. No, it was Lance Conklin. He showed up. He was doing a fine imitation of Ed Womble before 2006, and luckily Tom thought better about giving him the microphone. So I don't think that transfer was ever made. Lance, I love you, buddy. Careful with the caution tape. So this is Tom Nicholson. We actually have a big shout out for him because he saved the day on production of the event.
How's that?
What's that?
How's that? How do you save the day?
Well, Ray got most of the equipment and some stuff, but the full aspect and realization of what was told would be taken care of wouldn't have been taken care of, which is the production and operation of, just like, you do all the work with the videography for the skydiving, right?
Yeah.
And then when you get there, you have to start and stop certain parts of it and volume and all that different stuff because they have video feed.
A plethora of technicalities.
Right. And Ray was doing, I think he was laying on the concrete. So if Tom had not been there, really, we'd have had a much rougher time. So kudos to Tom.
All right, Tom.
And don't do it, Tom.
We had Tom on our show one time, wasn't he, from San Diego?
Yes, and he's out of the St. Pete crew. He's in the Whiteside, Schmidt, Grigley.
Okay, great.
All those guys, Walter. Yep.
Great.
All right, so
how many pictures do we have? We're going to be here for hours.
Well, I thought I would put some up. Did you guys notice this guy here with the Hitler mustache?
No.
That's Otis.
Yeah. It's Otis Redding.
He recorded all kinds of stuff. He had that little mic on his camera. He was recording all kinds of things. So he makes films. He's a filmmaker. We might see something from there. And somebody
Yeah.
had a little drone flying around getting footage and stuff. That'd probably be pretty cool to see.
I didn't know that, but yeah, I know he started his video journey to making some sort of film based around Kona.
Yeah. He came interviewed me one time at the park in Bradenton, and he was at the spot, and he came down. I was on my way to North Carolina, and we ended up chatting there. And he's got some idea to do a history of Florida skateboarding show documentary kind of thing. So cool.
Yeah, it was nice. Let's see. So this is actually from the middle pool of view back to where the Clio and coping box tent was, and where we smartly spent most of our time in the shade. But I just wanted to say that, show this flow ball was really cool.
That's a nice. I thought that was a nice pool.
That whole park is fantastic.
Yeah. It's amazing, when we built our parks back in the 70s and stuff, we didn't know what the hell we're doing in a range or whatever, and the edges were not smooth, didn't have that consistency and flow that you can do now, and it was more like go for a little bit and then you have to fall down. So look at all this stuff. It's cool.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Good. Yeah, Tim Payne's there. That's cool. Yeah,
he did hand me the camera and say, "Hey, can you take photos?" And that has been my profession for a long time, so I may have overwhelmed the situation.
I want to shout out, if anybody found a wide-angle lens, it's Ed's, so get it back to him.
It's a Nikon piece of glass that costs about $400.
That was before inflation.
Yeah, I mean, at
All right,
least.
so if anybody sees a Nikon wide-angle lens, get it back, because we need to get more wide-angle pictures.
So I ran out of space. These guys, I put little names. I wish the old farts would bounce, right? I put that on their names because there was a lot of people. I think a lot of guys were just there to skate. They didn't know we were coming.
Well, it's the 5th anniversary of the park, so they probably put out some words and stuff. But it was a great crowd. What a wonderful. I had trouble finding the places right next to Tropicana Field on the other side of the interstate there. I didn't know where to get off, and I'm cruising around some neighborhoods and everything, and finally I got into the place. So, but
Yeah,
once you're there is great. And the only action in this entire park was at the skate park. So the rest of the place was like turn it into condos or something.
So yes, well, I mean, St. Pete is blowing up. So yeah, it was a little confusing because if you get on the highway, you got to go a little ways to get turned around.
Yeah. It's cool though. Once you're there, you're there. It's wonderful. So look at what's these? Are these legal stone crab claws, or did you go and snag out of traps and gonna spend time in jail?
When we went out in the boat on Friday, we went. You can have 10 traps per person.
Recreational traps. That's right.
Right. So we went out and pulled them, and I think it was safe to say that Jody and Walter and I did not get near these. They're pretty big, and they're little crabs with these huge claws.
Oh yeah. It's a big mainstay around here. We had a lot of them died last few years from this red tide problem we've had, but they're great. They're tasty. They're succulent. It's like Florida's version of succulent lobsters or something. So.
Well, it sealed the deal for us after the show because George boogied straight back to the house and texted and said, "If you want some of this, you have to come get it." So that kind of dictated that.
It's like $30-40 a pound now. It's really getting rare because of this water quality issue. Anyhow, moving on.
As we get older and younger guys join, it makes it more the whole Hall of Fame concept more validated because we have the best guys in it. Now it's time to bring them in, and that's what this was really the first event
So do
where
they have anything like this in North Carolina?
they have no, not like this. They apparently, someone has said there's a Hall of Fame and said, but they've never done anything. And the first year that Steve did this, he got yelled at by lots of people because their brother or their son was not in the first
Right.
class. It's like, you didn't even know about it, ma'am or sir. And it was, and Steve loses money every time we have one of these things. It's not. So no, they don't have one in North Carolina. My dream. It's not my dream. I'm not going to do it, but I think we should do it all the way up the coast, and it all be kind of regional, and then have national, or not national, but Eastern Seaboard.
I think you can pretty much do Florida and California.
Well,
like you guys have pretty good lockdown on 85% of the most relevant people. No offense to everybody else, but South Dakota does not have anybody relevant to skateboarding.
You would be in the West Coast Hall of Fame.
Induct the same people every year in South Dakota.
Right.
Again.
Well, we could get shout out to Dave Doty and the dude named Jeb from Rapid City, who was in the one World Industries video. I don't know. Yeah, not much.
So I mean, you're right. I mean, when you think about an ollie hop, whatever Mutt came up with, Rodney, and a 540 McTwist, that pretty much, and then Kelly Slater. I mean, we've done pretty good as a state when it comes to talent, but there's people that everywhere that were really good that never got any coverage, because we know that too.
Yeah, the whole Alabama crew was good.
Yeah, heck yeah. So the look I wanted to point out this look. I'm pretty sure this is Mark Wilson, but the look on Steve's face here is that's why he does it, because people are touched by it. And even Bruce Mason told me afterward, he goes, I didn't think much of these things, but I'll be at every one now. I'm going to be at every one of these.
Mark Wilson had a whole contingent that came with it. It had shirts and signs and everything. It was great. They all went nuts. It was good.
That is awesome. So I don't remember where. I mean, this is the whole thing, is I don't remember where he skated. I know these two guys, but it's great to learn. I learned about Hajal, and there's a couple other guys that should have kind of went in, and they'll definitely go in a couple of years. But it's now becoming kind of fun for me because I get to learn about it again, and I'm learning about why they like to skate. This generation of skaters skates tons of different spots instead of one park, and they see a set of stairs and they talk to their friends, and nobody has skated down those stairs. And so now they've got to get a filmer, and they've got to, find a good time to go there and get the video. And it's a different way of thinking, but we didn't have to do that as much because we had parks. These two guys going in, I thought George Jorge Angel, who also works with Rob Marinak and Ryan Clements, should have been up there with them. But either way, there's a whole crew. And I thought what they said was amazing, thorough, and well thought out, because they touched a lot of bases there. And then the story, did you guys see Ryan and Rob do their acceptance?
Yeah.
Did you hear what they said about Paul Schmidt?
Yeah, they were very about them going to him and being not really uncertain about what they should do, and him just standing up and saying, "You guys do this. This is what you need to do."
Well, there was a little bit more to it, but it's the same spirit. They had, they were done with Spot, and they were trying to figure out where they fit in. And they had an event, one event that would be, revenue, and it was in California. So they packed, Beverly Hillbillies, packed it all up, drove across the nation, got out there, did the event, and went to Paul and said, we don't have any idea what we're going to do. We don't even know where to go next. And apparently Paul made it financially viable for them to do it on the short term. He actually helped get them some bridge funding out
to get rolling.
Yes. So and then Paul denied it.
In order for them to build Spot, is that what this is about?
No. So Ryan and Rob, these two gentlemen, worked at skate park at Tampa.
Right. Okay.
And at somewhere around 2005, 2006. There was a change of management, and Brian Schaefer became the lead at skate park of Tampa, and these guys became unemployed.
Oh.
But they had already worked up a little bit of skater management, managing various pro skaters. So you're doing everything from paying the bills to paying them and making travel arrangements and getting them sponsorships and all of that thing. So they morphed from being skate park administrators and promoters to being on the go and traveling and doing great things. So
I had both Paul and Ryan Clements were at our event last summer in Sioux Falls. We had a big event with the Smithsonian, and we went out to Pine Ridge. Had a really
what is Pine Ridge?
life experience.
What is Pine Ridge?
Sorry about that. I knew that was coming. Can you hear me?
Yes, we'd like you to give us a short take on what is Pine Ridge.
Pine Ridge is it's a reservation in South Dakota. It's the poorest county in the United States and has the highest teenage suicide rate in the Western Hemisphere. About 12 years ago, the Tony Hawk Foundation, Ben Harper, and Jeff Ament, and some other folks and the skate park builder Monk went out there and built a skate park. Anecdotally, since they built that skate park, nobody that started skateboarding has attempted suicide. So it's really like a straightforward, like real concrete example of how skateboarding changes lives.
Wow.
And so we took them out there, as well as the Smithsonian Jazz Masterworks Orchestra, and had this event for a day there before we brought it all back to Sioux Falls. It's about a 5-hour drive.
Wow.
And Ryan, in this moment, obviously this is, kind of being honored like this is humbling, but also like ego boosting a little bit and everything. And after I got done photographing this, he was over offside the stage, and I just went over. I hadn't seen him yet, and we just had a moment. And as big as this event is, or any event, like, we saw firsthand what extreme poverty looks like, and what skateboarding can do for those kids. And I think, Paul and Ryan and some of the other people that were involved, Mickey Vukovic and Josh from 411 Video Magazine and Team USA, like, we all got exposed to something that was transformative forever in how we see what skateboarding is. So it was just cool, because after this moment, I had a chance to talk to Ryan and his wife, and his wife's like talking, he talks about this still, like it's something that affects you. And what they're doing is what Ryan and Rob are doing is part of the puzzle that helps us figure out how to move skateboarding forward, and ultimately it affects those kids in those neighborhoods. Sorry, I'm on a random.
Yeah, I was curious about how are they getting new boards there if it's the poorest county in the country?
So Pine Ridge is, in that regard, they've got one guy out there. His name's Kyle Misteth. He has an organization called Ground Control. He bought a warehouse from the tribe for pennies on the dollar, and he's built a little skate park, and he has kids coming and going. And then skate companies have been donating stuff to him.
Cool.
So I was just out there about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. He's fully stocked on equipment for that particular city on the reservation.
Right.
There are some other cities that could definitely use some help.
Yeah.
There's about 3 professionally built skate parks and then about 4 DIY skate parks out there. Some of them built in the foundations of burnt out buildings and all kinds of cool, weird, DIY skate stuff. But
Yeah.
they're good, but we definitely need to get some boards out to some of the other cities on the reservation for
Yeah,
sure.
boards are expensive for a kid, 14-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid to come up with the bucks to buy a nice board. That's a chunk.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
And it's still one of the cheapest sports you can get into, right?
Yeah.
So you got the Smithsonian Orchestra to go to Pine Ridge. That's a 5-hour drive outside of Sioux Falls onto an Indian run. How many people were in the orchestra?
So it was their Jazz Masterworks ensemble. They had I want to say 5 or 6 people at that event, and then the rest flew into Sioux Falls later. But they were literally playing on the side of the bowl as the kids were skating, and the leader of the group, who's got to be one of the best jazz musicians in the world, was standing there, and they're doing some improvisation, and literally, like, he just stops playing because these kids are so amazing. Like, I mean, they're not doing tricks that are going to get you into the Olympics. They're going fast, and they're little kids, and they're and for somebody like a musician to see that close and in person in a 10-foot deep bowl while they're trying to play music, it was just this cross-pollination of culture and art.
That's great. That's
like
great.
Nothing. And it's the Smithsonian's event. But we happened to do it in South Dakota, and we did it kind of bigger than they'd ever done it before. But yeah, Ryan was there, Paul was there, it was Jake Alarde, who was skating
Jake's
that day.
in Sarasota. I'm working with him here.
Yeah. So he was out there, as well as some other Team USA skaters and some Paralympic athletes. So
I think that guy, the leader of the band, all of a sudden he heard some new rhythms. He's doing jazz. That's all new. You come up with jazz, and all of a sudden you're hearing tick, ticky, tick, tack, 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 tick, tick, tick. Now you got some new rhythms. I think he's probably opened up a Smithsonian skateboard jazz ensemble now.
Yeah. So anyways, just a cool moment to see Ryan get some. He does a lot for skateboarding for sure.
Yeah.
It was
cool. That's
it was
a great
over,
story.
It's overdue, but it finally was the right timing. So we're very happy. I'm happy. I've been pushing them for years. So let's see, what do we got here? So this is, you can see it's getting dark in the pictures.
What's Jody? What are you doing? Are you analyzing sweat from the skate park in a glass? Is that
Pretty much.
With Paul, when we got there at the Airbnb, the wonderful lady had left us a bottle of 4 men, a bottle of rosé, which we thought was hilarious until Paul ran out of 4 roses.
Yeah, we made fun of it until it was completely, everything else was gone. And then
all of the beer was drunk. The little biscotti cookies like they give you on the airplane, I got a pack of those. Murdered. They were gone.
So it was a catered affair, I say, from Delta or something. Huh?
No, I just saw him at Publix.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, we had an interesting time. I forgot about our Publix trip. So let's see, John Montesi, overdue, West Side Skate Shop in Tarpon Springs. Lots of guys came out of Tarpon Springs who became big skaters. Ryan Clements is one of them. Markovich, I believe, skated over there. So did what's his name? I always watch him skate. He kills it. Skates with the jaw all the time. What is his name? Well, it'll come to me. He didn't come to this. and he skates Big Vert all the time. I can't remember his name. But we got Markovich, who looks like he's breakdancing. So I love this picture because he just looks like Michael Jackson. He's doing some moonwalk in there. Candy Kramer, who won X Games, and I didn't even know, she's shredding. You got Phil, and then you have Tim talking about the David Ellis Award, and of course my buddy Bruce Mason. This is, though, really kind of captures a lot of why we go to these things. We walked a long way to our car. We were out back almost to the Trop, I think they call it, the Tropicana, and
that's the big stadium on the other side of the road over there.
Right. So we were down about I don't know, a half a mile, Walter. I mean, it was a
quarter mile, but yeah, it was a ways.
Right. So we're walking down there. It's just three of us. And Jody and I go to get in my car. We turn around. Walter's fucking gone. And we're like, well, he couldn't have gone that far. He's as big as I am, And then we look over and he's talking to Chris Markovich.
So to back this up, I'm not somebody who typically will go out and seek somebody who's famous out. It's just not what I do. But there was a photo of Chris when I was about 16 years old, where he's jumping over this water gap. And I was a young photographer at the time. And all you can see is his feet in the bottom of the skateboard and the water. And that was a full spread in Trans World. Daniel Stewart, I think, took the photo. And I just walked over to tell Chris, I was like, I'm not trying to, he was with his family. I was like, I don't want to try and bug you or whatever. I just want to say, like, your skating is great, but that one photo transformed how I saw photography and what became of my life subsequently. Like, it was the photo. I still have that copy. It's the only copy of any skate magazine I've ever kept. And subsequently, Ed walks over, Jody walks over, then all of a sudden, Paul and Patricia are walking back to their car. And then I just, I didn't want to be fanboy or whatever. So I was just talking to Chris's wife, and these guys had a great discussion that I was kind of a fly on the wall for.
So it was like, no, we just didn't want to leave. We were trying to leave. We couldn't leave because Porterfield got lost with the skateboarder magazines I was buying. He called us from Outback Steakhouse because somebody told him I went there. And then we got him back over there. By that time, Paul shows up. Do you remember what Paul was talking to Markovich about?
Yeah.
And Jody, did you remember that? We're talking about the amount of flex in the boards and the pop and the boards. And so they changed through research and development, they changed the ratio of horizontal to vertical, or whatever, the amount of
nanofibers or whatever.
Yeah, nanotubes, whatever. But they had, apparently boards were too strong and too stiff. And so to convince Chris that that Paul could make them really, really flexible, like almost rubbery, he made one as severe as possible, so you could easily with your hands just twist it. And he goes, okay, now you know what I can do. Let's figure out where the sweet spot is. And that's still the recipe that people use today. Wow. So, to have those two guys sitting there, and you got Walter talking about this, which is something intriguing to me, which is the skater and the filmer relationship. And then you have the search for, the location. And this Sturt guy who took the pictures you're talking about, Walter, is like, it's just, he already knew what picture he wanted. He just had to find a way to get Markovich to put himself there so he could capture it. and it to me is part of learning to respect and value and understand what skating today has become. Because to watch somebody try something 30 times, pull it off once, and go, "Yeah, I'm the king." When you were raised in an environment where you needed to be able to pull things off over and over and over again, but you were skating at the same place most of the time. So it's really cool. I learned a lot, and Mrs. Markovich was very polite to let us talk for longer than that she anticipated. But didn't you go off and help babysit the child while we talked, Walter? I think
we were just we were chatting about parenting, and he was running around the playground. We were keeping an eye on him, but yeah, no, I was listening to both conversations too, because it was pretty, as a random kid from the Midwest who was affected by all kinds of different little things, just to have that conversation going on was pretty interesting.
I find it interesting about the nanotechnology now to make the boards flexible. I mean, the graphenes and all these things that are starting to come out. That means in the future you're going to have a board that could be flex for different situations. That's pretty interesting stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a sweet spot. You need it to be flexible and have pop, but also be durable. So not everybody has 5 decks. I find it funny how many boards people break. I don't think I broke maybe one board in my life. I just got a different one. I didn't go through as many. So I got another picture of
So
that.
I saw Richard in the upper left there. Richard already he said it on a Facebook thing. He's out skating some pump parks someplace, and he said he was a good workout.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and damn it. So it was good to see him, and you got your Basin shirt on. I miss Mike Shelton.
My hat was too tight. You see how small my head's getting? I'm wearing a head and my helmet, and the hats are so tight I'm turning into a pinhead.
Yeah, just losing weight. You're just a chick magnet.
I'm losing brain matter. That's the trouble. I'm getting old.
So this picture down here at the bottom is hilarious. It's a screenshot. But both nights, Paul would get home about 15 minutes after George would go to sleep. And Paul was on full tilt California time. It was wonderful to see him with he never really has his guard up. He's bulletproof. But it was fun to get, it's fun to have. I was honored to have Jody come down. I'm glad he came. And to see all these guys that it just gets better every year.
So Jody, did you find a new palette from the Florida gathering? Do you see different colors or shapes or things that might affect your art?
Probably not so much that. Just I don't know. It just seems like a kind of a lifetime of like dreams. I guess just being there was super cool. Like it's kind of crazy sitting at the table with Paul. Drinking rosé and whatever we were doing, but just kind of seeing things come full circle. Can't say it really inspired anything, artistically, but it was super cool seeing the whole scene, feeling like some kind of part of it for just a minute.
What is your main medium that you work in? Like an airbrushing type thing? I have no idea. So.
Yeah, I do. That's mainly it, just airbrushing. I mean, I mostly do motorcycles. My shop, I've got a shop that does full restorations, pretty much a full blown body shop. And
okay. It's not just the paint aspect. Then it's a whole mechanical aspect. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. We do full blown restorations, collision. Personally, I mainly do motorcycles. I've been doing that for the last probably 15 years. I've been doing bikes for 20 plus, but for the last 15, it's been pretty much motorcycles.
Cool.
Yeah.
What did you do to the Champagne? Was it a Bel Air? what was that car we used to deliver skateboards, and you got the big pillow shocks in it where we were.
Oh, my 64.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
It's mint condition with these big pillows, and he's got the buttons in the car. So, when you're riding, you can ride all kind of weird, and then when you stop, it's.
You can tell these guys were not around in the '90s, Jody, because I was on every hip hop video of that era was the '64 Impala.
Exactly why I have it for sure. But yeah, it's got
make that thing bounce like this, like the Chicanos did.
Yeah, it won't bounce because it's got an air on it, which it's fun though. It's a good time.
So it was a blast.
Oh yeah.
I want to thank Donnie Meyer for coming to me and saying, "Hey, could you come sit and watch the inductions?" Because as the night went on, I knew less and less about the inductees. And so I was having fun with all my boys, laughing and having a big time. And he, basically did me a solid by saying, we need to get out there and respect what's going on. Right. And instead of me having a big laugh, go get there and pay attention to what's going on. Because one of the bad things about that fight was that it pushed the schedule, and then there was only 45 minutes or whatever for the bands to play. So there was no group picture, which was like the normal thing, which all the new guys, right? And then, okay, everybody here who's in, everybody get up there and get pictures. And we never did get that. And we'll have to get that next time.
Hey, I just want to give a shout out to the St. Pete Police Department when they came in, because I ended up being in the middle of the arrest moment, and the kids from the skateboard are coming out and they're hollering to the guy, even though the guy's a total jerk. They're hollering, "Don't fight them," as they're trying to put the cuffs on, because this guy was just ready to fight anybody. He would have been shot dead right there if he kept up. But the kids came out and helped him, which I thought was part of the whole excitement of the St. Pete skate scene there. It was like people helping each other. It was great. It was just sad for the guy, but they were trying to save his butt from being clobbered with some clubs and stuff. But the St. Pete Police Department handled it very professionally, didn't make a big scene, blah, 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 and hauled his sorry ass butt out of there as quick as possible.
I think they probably saw the amount of gray hair in the crowd and they were like, they're mostly old guys.
Yeah, right.
What's funny is no one was parking beside the park because it looked like it was illegal. We were all walking from down yonder, and then by the end of the night, there's everybody parked right there on the grass. We're like, we're going by the rules.
That's the biggest crowd that park's ever had, I think. Except when they dumped all the $100 bills from a helicopter. But other than that, this was probably the biggest thing.
As someone who's staged events of different kinds over the years, everybody that was involved in making that thing happen, it was really quite a production to have both a contest and an award ceremony and musicians and everything else. That stuff takes a lot to make happen. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody and Ed and Jody for putting up with me for that insane ride home.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem of the whole weekend right there.
Yeah.
Great picture here. So you got Tom Nicholson, Bill Procco, Paul Schmidt, and this guy named John Grigley.
Oh yeah.
So
that was after Paul and Patricia took me to tacos, and then Paul and I had to wander the streets trying to find everybody. Paul had a little bit to drink that night.
Well, Paul was driven. I think I have. Well, let's do this. So this is what from Spot hooked me up. What'd you say? You probably not Yes, you did. Look at that.
Look at that, man. That's a feast.
Shouldn't hear. Honestly. Thing of beauty out there. Look like it's been into my goddamn biscuits.
Then somebody lost the keys to the car, and the next morning I had to dig through the trash, and all of that had been sitting out there in the heat. and I was trying to find the keys in the trash, and Jody just had them in his pocket.
The first place you're supposed to look, we forgot to look.
Well, he was showering.
So, and look at this, okay?
Oh, that's my shot there.
Chuck,
Chuck Lagana and Kelly Lynn with a new hip.
So, Kelly's got a new hip.
That's what I heard. He was doing this with a new hip.
So Kelly Lynn, just for the record, we want to make sure everybody knows this, has the coolest helmets ever. He's a graphic artist, and he's done variations on this theme many times. I sent him this picture and this picture, and he goes, "It figures that whoever took the picture didn't get the grind." We got the before and the after, but
well, actually, I was looking at Chuck at the time because he was banging his cane like people bang their skateboards when they're happy with something. So I'm looking at him. I didn't even know it was Kelly. I go, if I knew that was Kelly, I would have said, screw Chuck. I'm going to get shots of Kelly. But I thought it was a nicely thought out shot when I shot it. And I only shot like 10 pictures the whole time I was there. So
did this guy ever pull this off, Walter?
He pulled off a variation of it, but he wasn't happy with it. You know how that is.
Well, I mean, I look at that and I just see a guy who's doing a twisty, kicky thing.
No, he was doing I don't even know what it was, like a wally up that Jersey barrier. It was a very strange trick, but he was going at it hard. And sometimes you just take photos of people that are going at it hard. Hopefully, you get one that's cool.
Well, I'll probably put all the ones that that aren't like this. I don't think this is a make.
No, he only made it once. He put a lot into it.
So I'll probably put them all on this on the website.
Now, bear with me. I was not using my own camera, and everything in Nikon is reversed from Canon. So
that's okay. I mean, and Paul charging was another thing that just blew me away. And I don't have any pictures of Becca. Do you got any pictures of Becca, Jody?
No.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely not.
So
that was a great event. Look at the crowd. I mean, everybody's healthy. I was watching his news report, and it was all about childhood obesity and stuff. I didn't see any childhood obesity at this place. This was just dynamite. Just get out and be physical.
It was a lot of fun, and let's see if we can. I can show you what my daughter likes to do. Let's see.
Yeah, you can cut the claws off and throw the crab back in. It grows a new claw.
What is the AI? It was some sort of recording.
Augmented reality. So I had scanned a sculpture in the Smithsonian Institute, and then you can pop it into any place and use your phone to observe it. You can put anything you want into it. It's pretty weird.
So really a trip. I'm walking around. I'm standing walking around in a circle, like 10-foot radius. There's airplanes, there's people. I can see the sculpture, and I can see what I would normally see in the background. I was just blown away. I was like, that's not even...
Did you have glasses on?
No, you use your phone. So you're using your phone, and the camera on your phone is observing everything around you, but then it uses technology to put the item in the foreground.
It was like, what sculpture in the round? Just really.
We're actually, with the opening of our park, we're going to have a full model of the park, so that when you're there, or not for the opening, but the groundbreaking. So when you shovel in the ground, you walk over, you can scan this little code, and then you can walk through the park as though it exists in reality.
Wow. Who's creating that for you?
So I create them usually, but the skate park designers, I've gotten them into the software, and they're learning how to do it.
Oh, that's great. That whole new Apple thing with the glasses, you see what's going on, but it's a whole nother world on top of that. Not a virtual reality, it's an augmented reality, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, augmented reality is what this stuff is. It's really cool.
It's been a wonderful show, Jody. Nice seeing you, and Walter. We should talk more because I'm getting involved with the skate city, Sarasota, and a lot of things. A lot of talk. Got to start do. You know. But,
yeah, I'd love to help in any way I can.
That's great because little pocket parks for wheeled sports, non-human wheeled sports, not electric. So wheelchair, scooters, bikes, anybody wants to participate, that's what we're looking at now. So, and that's good exercise. So anyhow, I got to run.
I want to thank the Vans for contributing all of the donations that they give us. We sell and raise funds to buy skateboards for kids. They're actually truly our only sponsor, unless you would like to sponsor us. We are open to that. And having said that, please go see our YouTube.
Yeah, they should contact our marketing department in New York City on 5th Avenue. I think that's where they are.
No, they're not. They're at the skateboardingbroshow.com. Or you can just send us a message on YouTube, like, follow, share, subscribe. And we want to hear from you if you are from someplace other than the United States. It's not that we don't want to hear from you or if you are from the United States, but we'd like to know where you're watching.
Didn't you say there were 10 listeners? I think we want to hear from all of you.
Well, actually, 10.
The internet won't be able to handle it. It'll be too clogging the internet. It wouldn't happen.
No, 10% are you from the United States.
Oh.
And I believe so that makes 11 or 12. So it's gonna be good. So
I want that chick from India that did that skateboard movie that I loved. I want her to get in touch with us. Jerry, what was the name of that? Was a great film, but it reminded me of Boards for Bros. Here's this gal, she doesn't have anything, right? And this guy shows up, gives her a skateboard, boom, opens up the world to her. And it was a fabulous little movie. And the whole town, they built a skate park. That's what it's all about. So
we have sent boards to Africa. I'm not sure what country they wound up in. We just got done sending boards to Peru, and we're trying to organize a trip to Bali. So I don't know why we have to drive and ride in an airplane halfway around the planet, but if that's what they want us to do, I am down. I will fly to wherever you fly to. I don't know if you take a left at Hawaii or you go to Japan and then go to Indonesia. I have no idea.
Don't worry, they got it all figured out. You just go.
I don't need to get the ways out and tell the pilot which way to go.
No, you don't have to do that.
But
if you want to take a couple seats out, you can make a nice ramp inside one of those jets. Back and forth. Just take a few rows out. Boom, 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 boom. That'd be cool. 34,000-foot skate ramp.
Well, yeah. I the good part about it is that that we'd be spreading skateboards, and I'll be closer to go see my daughter in Thailand. Yeah. So
if we do get a sponsor, I'm going to buy us a nice 737 jet and put a couple skate parks inside of it. We'll just fly around the world.
I got a guy who painted. How much does it cost to paint an airplane?
I could create a virtual airplane.
Yeah, there you go. It'd be a whole new TV series around the world in inverts and wampoles.
Wampoles. We have video evidence of people doing wampoles, by the way.
Hey, I gotta go. It's been fun. Good seeing you guys.
Good luck tomorrow.
Close out the show when you get a chance. Send me the files.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah,
bye, everybody.
Have a good night. Hey, everybody, thank you very much.
You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love.